I have been in the family wealth management industry for over 30 years now. And during that time, I've seen families build lives for themselves in an environment that was fairly stable, somewhat predictable, certainly materialistic, only to find that now what worked for them isn't working so well for their young folks as they now try to leave the nest and build lives of their own. So a lot of parents, far too many, find that they're still funding their young adults long past when they expected to do so. And regardless of how much money they have, whether it be a little or be a lot, they worry. They worry about failure to launch. So the goal for my talk today is to offer you a model that I use in my family and I use with clients that can help every member of your family thrive, especially the young folks. And by thrive, I mean living the lives that they love with enough resources to support those choices. And this is really important right now because our young folks are coming into a world, at least in the developed Western nations, that is very different than the one my generation came into when we left the nest. I think they have it much harder than we did. Just look at Canadian real estate prices. They've gone up over 200% since 1990. During the same period, median family income has only gone up, well, less than 43%. That trend isn't just in Canada either. It's seen in Asia to some extent, and in Europe, and in the US. Now, I remember my generation really having very little difficulty affording our first home. But for young folks today, for most, it's a pipe dream. Think about transportation. I remember when I was 21, I could buy a really cool used car for the same amount that a 21-year-old male in Toronto is paying just for car insurance. And education, the cost of university has tripled since 1990. And that's nothing compared to the cost of food and housing. That's probably why so many students are leaving school loaded with student debt. And that's a bummer. Because I remember my generation, when we left school, we pretty much just walked right into the job of our choice. But it's not like that for young folks anymore. A survey done by Workopolis in 2014 said that of those polled, 77% were working in fields unrelated to their education, just to make ends meet. So our cost of living is far outpacing our incomes. And that's hard on all of us, but that's especially hard for our young folks who are trying to get established. See, the world is changing so fast, it's hard for us to keep up right now. And I remember my generation. We had really two very clear paths before us. In high school, I remember we chose either the vocational route or we chose the academic route. We left college and went into the trades, or we left university and went into the professions. But then somewhere along the lines, those paths converged, and the goal became about getting the first car, getting the spouse, getting the house, getting the kids, and then working the rest of our lives to pay for the house and the kids. And with a hope to someday retiring to a pension plan or to a portfolio. And we expect our young people to also leave the nest and to start that life cycle all over again, that life cycle that we know and understand. But our young people are coming out into the world and they're saying, I can't afford this. They want to be here with us, but they don't see a clear path as to how to do that. Everything is changing before them, economically, socially, culturally, politically, environmentally. There is no clear path any longer. So as I said, we parents, we worry about failure to launch. We want to empower our young people, but we worry about creating entitled monsters. We want to create independence, but we worry about creating dependence. We want to help, but we just don't know how. Because what worked for us isn't working so well for them. And equally so, our young folks, they want to make us proud, right? They want to live a self-sustaining life as well, but they just don't see the path. And for a lot, that feels pretty hopeless. So here's the truth. Our young people aren't going to live the life that we led. There's no going back. But here's the good news. Most of them don't want to live our life anyway. Most of them don't want to live the kind of life we led. Yes, they want to have enough resources to be able to live life according to their own choices, but they're just not as materialistic as we were. So what if? What if this is actually a really good thing? What if what we're seeing is really just growing pains? Sort of a foundational evolutionary push towards a shift away from an economy and a society that's individualistic, materialistic, competitive, towards one that's more collaborative, inclusive, perhaps sustainable. I feel like we're seeing a fundamental paradigm shift away from a society that's built on like a pyramid structure, where power and resources are held in the hands of the few, and everyone else sells their time in exchange for money, for perceived financial security or maybe to buy some cool stuff, towards more of a circular economy, where people have more of an attitude of self-employment, and their work is based upon their values. And they work to preserve the control over their personal time and their personal freedom, and they share the rewards with each other. Our young people aren't willing to give away their power anymore just for money. They can't buy much of anything with it anyway. Some people call these folks millennials. Some say they're lazy and entitled. Maybe some are. But I like to think of them as evolutionary thinkers, as true wealth creators, because they're creating an abundance of what we almost treasure, which is having time, having personal freedom, and having the resources to live life according to our own choices with physical and financial security. So we need our young people to be successful. And this is where you parents and grandparents come in. Can you see that you could lead a transformation within your family environment to help strengthen every member of your family so that they can better adapt and thrive in this period of change? I can't answer all of the challenges that your family would have, but I can offer you a model that you can use, that I've used in my family and with clients, that can help your family navigate through these changing times and thrive. If you're willing to see your family as a business-like organization, then you can create the environment where together you can grow and preserve all of your resources just like a business would do. And you can grow stronger and more united in the process. You don't have to own a business. You don't have to have a business. I just mean be willing to see your family as a business-like environment. I call that environment the Family Treasury. It's essentially what my book is about. So how can this Family Treasury, how can this business-like environment help your family to navigate through this change? Well, think about business for a moment. Business creates human and financial wealth out of nothing more than an idea about what it can contribute to its community in exchange for compensation. And then it gathers around it a group of people, a team, to help it manifest that idea. And then it builds policies and procedures to control risk and manage and adapt through change. We could do that in our families, but we don't. Most of us don't. See, our society encourages us to get out there and make it all on your own, right? It's a badge of honor if you did it all on your own. Good for you. We've, as a result, got families who move to the beat of their own drum because we value individualism and individual success more than we do group or collaborative success. So as each of us family members is moving to the beat of our own drum, it might be a cool rhythm, but we're completely out of unison with each other. And we end up spinning in circles. Can you imagine if a business did that? It wouldn't last very long. It'd be bankrupt very quickly. So we need to think of our families in a different way if we're going to get on the other side of this world upheaval and these economic and social challenges that we're facing. So think like a business. So what are the foundational building blocks of the family treasury then, using business as an example? Well, many of you might know the 3 Ps that make business successful. Purpose plus people equals profits. And they're interdependent on each other. We just use them by different names in the family treasury. So we start with, as a business would, a clear vision and mission. What business are we in? What are we doing this for? And then the business thinks, now I need a strategic financial plan to help me reach all the goals and objectives along the way to manifest that vision. We can do the same thing in our family using the best practices business use. We can help every member of our family identify what is their unique talents. What is their authentic self? And then sculpt a life that allows the expression of that authentic self, those talents. Because when we're expressing our talents, we live a meaningful life as we live a purposeful life. And when we live a purposeful life, we live an inspired life. And that acts like a beacon. That acts like a lighthouse that helps us navigate through difficult, challenging times, through the dark, turbulent waters. And just as the business would do, we could create our own personal strategic plan to help us reach the goals and objectives along the way, to materializing that mission for ourselves. I call it the Family Treasury Prosperity Plan. Now, also, businesses realize they can't do this on their own, so they build a kick-ass team of high-esteemed professionals that bring their A game every day and help to manifest the vision. And businesses support their teams by fostering financial acumen, conflict resolution skills, communication skills, and leadership capabilities. Doesn't your family deserve the same? So lucky for us, we can use some of the tools that businesses use to build our family teams and help heal some of the dysfunction that we all have a little bit of. The number 1 tool is the family meeting, formal family meeting. I'm not talking about the chit-chat at the dinner table. That's where all our patterns and roles reveal themselves. I'm talking about a formal meeting, complete with meeting minutes, agendas, and flip charts. The formality of it encourages everyone to bring their A game to the meeting. Everyone there is equally respected, even if they're not equal in experience or authority. Power labels are left at the door, cell phones are left at the door. And they work together to overcome their challenges and to take advantage of their opportunities. The formal family meeting builds tribes, where every member of the tribe has each other's backs. So what goes on in these family meetings? And by the way, I call them the Family Treasury Roundtable. Well, just like a business would do, we educate ourselves. We gain financial acumen. And yes, that means we talk about money in our family. I know. Also, we develop the skills that we need to take advantage of the opportunities before us. You could hold book clubs, you could have speakers, you could even just talk to each other and share experiences with each other. And also, just like a business would do, we could bring in facilitators to help us understand the unique communication styles of each of our family members, and then learn to communicate better and to handle conflict more maturely. And then, just like a business would do, we could borrow some of those personality profiling tools that the HR department has and help every member of our family understand their unique talents and then build a personal mission and vision around that. And just like a business would, we could bring in a coach to help us create a clear personal path towards the achievement of our mission. And just like a business would do, who often has a chief financial officer, we can get our own independent financial planner to help us pilot our resources towards the achievement of our goals. So the family treasury has been a very important part of my family's life. I've been married to my husband for over 31 years. Actually, it was our wedding anniversary yesterday. And we worked together most of that time. And the principles of the Family Treasury gave us the confidence and the strength to move my family of 5 and our business out of the city up here into our little corner of paradise in Georgian Bay. And the Family Treasury meetings have been central to helping our young family members launch into their lives. My 2 sons now have their own business and it's thriving and they're working together. And my daughter's just graduated from business school and she's working with both of the companies, sharing her talents. So we've become, thanks to the Family Treasury, a cohesive, supportive family, working collaboratively to resolve our challenges, and there are lots of those. We've become a tribe who shares all our resources with each other, our social, our human, and our financial resources. And we're building true family wealth, which is to us having an abundance of what we most treasure. Money's just something to support that. So I ask you to think about, could the Family Treasury help your family navigate through this change? Maybe experiment with it. Hold your first Family Treasury roundtable meeting, perhaps bribe the kids to get them there, and think about what is true family wealth for your family. What does it mean to be a member of your tribe? And instead of worrying about failure to launch, let's just journey together. Remember that African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. Thank you.